including in this course when I was writing it, was the use of rubrics within Google Classroom. Now, teachers that I've spoken to who use Google Classroom, not many of them actually use this feature, and for me it's drastically changed my marking. It's made it a lot quicker, it's made it a lot more effective and to the point. I'm going to quickly show you how you can set up rubrics on assignments now and what they actually are. So for example, this social networking assignment that I've put in for our test class, if I go in to edit this assignment, so view, instructions, and then edit, and back to this page that we saw in a previous topic. Now obviously, as I've said earlier, you cannot edit this, especially the ones the student will get a copy, which is why I always said in the previous topic that it's really important to get these assignments right as you're posting them. However, you can add in a rubric and you can add it in at a later date. Now, you can either create, reuse, or import from sheets. I mainly use create and reuse. We're going to create one today. And what this does is it adds in criteria that lets you evaluate student work and includes descriptions on it. And when the student gets their assignment back, they will get a copy of the rubric as well. So for example, if my rubric is out of 30, for example, they will get a mark out of 30 with descriptions on what they've done well. So for example, I'm going to say one is going to be SPAG, so spelling, punctuation and grammar. This criteria will scores your spelling, punctuation and grammar. And what I can do here now is I can give different levels. So my max level is going to be 10. The level before that, maybe 7, 5, 3 and 0. Now I can give each of these criteria within the SPAG criteria different level titles and descriptions. So for example here, I could say outstanding and a description of all of your spelling, all of your SPAG is outstanding with no errors. Here I could do good, and I could put your SPAG is good with only a few errors. I could put acceptable here, I could have below target, and I could have fail, and I can write out all the different descriptions for here. So for example, your SPAG is acceptable, however it needs improvement to access higher grades. I could have your SPAG is below target and needs serious improvement to access higher grades, and then obviously you could have a fail description here. Now that's one criteria within this assignment that I'm assessing, but I'm also going to assess, for example, content. So this criteria measures how well you have understood in this assignment. And then again, I could have 10, 7, 5, 3, 0. These can be, of course, whatever you want. They don't have to be 10, 7, 5, 3, 0, but there does have to be a points value, because you'll notice at the top here that overall rubric has added the 210 criteria up to make 20. So here again I could do the same thing, outstanding. You don't have to fill these out either, but what I find is if you fill these out now, when you're going to mark your students' work, it becomes a lot quicker to just put the work in, put the scores in, and then it gives descriptions on what they've done really well. Now what I'm going to do is, in a minute, if I click save, you will notice that on this assignment there is a rubric now that has 2 criteria, 20 points, and your students can view this as well. So I always say at the start of the assignments, look at the rubric, because on there it tells you what you need in order to access higher grade boundaries, and this is what it looks like to the students. They can come on and say, right, well I know I'm measured on spelling, punctuation and grammar out of 10, I know my content's out of 10, I know whatever the criteria that you have set is on there for them to see. It's transparent. They can have a look at what it is they need to do to access the top mark. It's really useful for them. I just wanted to quickly show you what it looks like when you're going through marking a student's piece of work and looking at how the rubrics work in that respect. As you can see here, I've got a student's piece of work up, and on the right it shows me the rubric for this assignment. So as I come in to look at this person's work, I can scroll through and I can say, you know what, this person's spelling, punctuation and grammar is perfect. Yes, she's used some dots instead of bullet points, but that doesn't really bother me too much. Everything's really good, so I'm going to give a 10. So I'd click on the 10. Layout and design, I think it's quite good, really good for this student and for this level. Could maybe be better though, so I'd give her a 7 out of 10, maybe, or a 10. It depends on what you view it as. And then obviously content, she's done pretty well, but she's not accessed the top grade boundary, so she's on a 7, and I've clicked the 7. And then obviously you can look under here and see what it is that they're getting, and this becomes their own personalized feedback. So it says obviously your knowledge of cybersecurity is great and you've included most of the relevant information on the Google Slides. Your layout and design is excellent and matches the target audience while using a range of Google Slides available features. And then your spelling, punctuation and grammar is exceptional with no errors. And that becomes what they see when they get their grade back. They see 27 out of 30, but they also see the breakdown with the feedback of what they've done really well. And I use these now on all of my portfolio based work. So if they do a unit where they're creating a portfolio, creating a presentation, or creating something creative, then I will use a rubric so they can see exactly what they've done, exactly what they've got, and exactly what the different criteria is for them being marked on the actual unit. So yeah, a really great way, I think, of providing really good feedback and really making your using your time better, because I can go through, check this and give them some scores, and it takes me less than a minute.